This welding table is the perfect project for a beginner just getting into the welding world. It's built out of 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 by 1/8 inch angle iron and 1/8 inch sheet metal. We included a material list and a cut list at the end of the video. This table was put together by our own welding expert Heidi Olson using a Lincoln MIG welder. Actually, this Lincoln 210 MP can be used as a TIG or a stick welder as well. We also ran a Lincoln fume extractor. An abrasive saw like this one will do the job, but it leaves behind large burrs. A metal cutting saw with a tooth blade costs more, but cuts a lot cleaner. Grind off the burrs and rough edges with an angle grinder. Practice on the same material that you'll be using on the project. MIG welding is all about finding the perfect combination of voltage and wire speed. Keep adjusting the settings until you can produce a nice, consistent bead. You'll know you've got it when there's hardly any smoke and you hear a nice, smooth buzzing sound. Use the tabletop to line up all the braces to make sure they fit, and then clamp them in place with C-clamps. Small gaps between the braces can easily be filled. Start by tacking each individual corner. That way you can make sure they're still lined up before permanently fastening them in place. The tip of the welder needs to be cleaned periodically with the welding pliers. Start tacking the rest of the braces to the bottom of the tabletop. When welding any project, it's important to spread the welds around. Welding a long time in the same area will overheat the metal and cause warping. There's no reason to weld the whole joint between the braces and the bottom of the tabletop. Heidi is just welding the area between every other tack. Wire is not the only thing coming out of the end of this welding gun. It's also pumping out argon gas. The gas surrounds the arc in order to keep out impurities in the air that could interfere with the welding process. Notice how she pushes into the weld. If she were to pull the gun, she could outrun the gas and end up with an inferior weld. Finish welding the corners. There's really no need to weld the outsides of the corners. Repeat this whole process for the shelf. Prop up the tabletop and shelf and clamp on 2 of the legs. Square up the legs both perpendicular to the ends of the tabletop and shelf and to the sides of the tabletop and shelf, which isn't shown here. Just tack the legs in place until all 4 are attached and everything is square. You always want to weld from top to bottom whenever possible. This will require flipping the table a few times. When the metal turns to liquid, it will start to flow down. It's easier to control the flow when the arc is out in front of it. Welding vertical down also makes it easier to avoid drips that could hang out past the material, and it results in a prettier bead and a better weld overall. Casters with stems are nice because they can be replaced if they ever get damaged. It's easier to align the caster squarely on the leg if you weld the nut in place while it's screwed all the way to the bottom of the stem. Cover the stem threads with a little tape to protect them from splatter. A gun holster is a must for any welding table. Grind all the sharp edges smooth with an angle grinder. Nice work, Heidi.